Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for October 14, 2025. We'd like to remind members of the public in the gallery during a council meeting to adhere to the conduct set forth in the council procedural bylaw displayed near the entrance of council chambers. I'll call the regular council meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Starting with the land acknowledgement. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, the town of Blackfalds acknowledges that we are on Treaty 6 territory, the ancestral lands of Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and non-status peoples whose footsteps have marked these lands since time immemorial. We recognize the inherent relationships Indigenous communities have with this land and its creatures and commit to supporting reconciliation and healing. We honor the resilience, culture, and contributions of Indigenous peoples past and present. As we gather, we pledge to listen, learn, and take meaningful action towards a future based on mutual respect and understanding as we continue on our journey of truth and healing. We recognize that reconciliation is not one single act, but a lifelong journey, one that requires accountability, humility, and the centering of Indigenous voices. Has Council had a chance to review tonight's agenda? Are there any additions or deletions for administration? Does any member of council wish to exempt an item from the proposed consent agenda before the adoption of the regular agenda? Seeing no exemptions, I'll ask for a motion to adopt the regular agenda for October 14th. Deputy Mayor Coulter.
I move to accept the regular agenda.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Can I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Councillor Dennis.
I'll adopt the agenda, the consent agenda for October 14th, 2025.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is unanimous. So we do have a public hearing, item 4.1. The following public hearing is held pursuant to the Municipal Government Act. The following rules of conduct will be followed during the public hearing. Presentations should be brief and to the point. The order of the presentation shall be the entry of the written submission, comments from the Planning and Development Department, those supporting the bylaw, those opposing the bylaw, and any person deemed to be affected by the bylaw. The public hearing purpose is to receive comments from any interested parties on the proposed land use bylaw amendment to redistrict 1 McKay Boulevard. I hereby declare the public hearing relating to bylaw 1341.25 open.
The purpose of bylaw 1341.25 is to amend Schedule A of the Land Use Bylaw 1268.22 to redistrict 1 McKay Boulevard, legally described as Lot 3, Block 13, Plan 1422837, from Commercial Local District C3 to Commercial Mixed Use District CMU. First reading was given to bylaw 1341.25 on September 9th, 2025. Notice of this public hearing was advertised in accordance with Section 606 of the Municipal Government Act in the Town of Blackfalds Notification Bylaw and Public Participation Policy. A complete advertising listing is included in the public hearing report before you. The written submissions and comments received to date are also included in the public hearing report before you.
Thank you. Are there any late written submissions relating to the bylaw?
There are not.
Thank you. Are there any comments from Planning and Development Department?
There are none.
Is there anyone who supports the bylaw and wishes to speak? Is there anyone who opposes the bylaw and wishes to speak? Is there anyone deemed to be affected by the bylaw and wishes to speak? Any further comments from Planning and Development Department?
There are none.
Do councillors have any questions? Nothing further, I hereby declare this public hearing relating to bylaw 1341.25 to be closed at 7:05. We have a number of delegations this evening, starting with the Fire Department Medal Awards. And I did hear a comment from council that if there's an alarm, fire alarm, this part of the council meeting will end very quickly, I think. But, so let's get moving on this. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we gather with pride and gratitude to honor the exceptional service and unwavering dedication of members of the Blackfalds Fire Department. These individuals have devoted years, some of them decades, to protecting our community, demonstrating courage, leadership, and commitment. We are privileged to present two distinguished awards recognizing their remarkable contributions. Firstly, the Canadian Federal Fire Services Exemplary Medal and the Canadian Volunteer Fire Services Association Awards, including the Municipal Long Service Award Medal. Firstly, we present the Canadian Federal Fire Services Exemplary Medal, which celebrates long and outstanding services by both full-time and volunteer firefighters. Tonight, we recognize Bill Stock for his 20 years of exemplary service since joining in May 2003. Rising to the rank of captain in 2010, Bill has earned international firefighting certifications and has been a dedicated mentor to new members. In addition to this honor, Bill will also receive the Canadian Volunteer Fire Services Medal for his 20 years of fire services. Please ask Bill to come forward. We'll have Bill up in a moment again. Next, we honor members receiving the Canadian Volunteer Fire Services Association Medal. And this medal is for our members who've served between 10 and 29 years of volunteer services. Starting with the first recipient, Jeff Doms, who joined in February 2015, bringing prior experience from Ontario. He's now a lieutenant. Jeff has been a key mentor. Though unable to attend tonight, we proudly recognize his 10 years of service. I need to make sure I organize this. There is a lot to choose from. Thank you. The next member receiving 10 years is Brandon Hawk, an active member since 2015. He was promoted to lieutenant in November 2024. Brandon's leadership guides our team, and we celebrate his 10 years of service. Okay. Okay. Next, we recognize Curtis Kenway. He joined in 2015 and rose to captain by November 2024. Curtis mentors new recruits and contributes to initiatives like the Junior Firefighter Props at our open house, earning recognition for his 10 years of service. And again, we recognize Bill Stock, recognized again for his 20 years of volunteer service. You're gonna have to make some extra room on that tunic. You're gonna have to make some extra room on there. Finally, we present the Volunteer Fire Services Association Municipal Long Service Award Medal to those with 30 years or more of service. Brad Brown, who joined in July 1995 and became captain in 2009, Brad remains a mentor and an active leader recognized tonight for 30 years of service. Amazing. Next, we recognize Gene Osterpolowski, a member since 1988 and a former fire chief from 1994 to 1995. As a Class A firefighter, Eugene's guidance is invaluable, and we honor his 35 years of service. He doesn't take directions well. Gotta keep him on his toes. And last but not least, we recognize John McCrimmon, who joined in 1987 and continues as a Class A firefighter and an active member for the Blackfalds Firefighters Association. We celebrate his 35 years of service. You do what she tells you. Probably more this way than I can. As the rest of council moves back in place, again, please join me by applauding all these remarkable individuals for their tireless dedication to the Blackfalds Fire Department and our community. I didn't hear an alarm. That's right. You guys move in groups, I understand this thing, yes. That was amazing. Our second delegation will be an introduction of our engineering services manager. I invite Director Wern up to the front to make that introduction.
Thank you, Your Worship Council. So I'm pleased to introduce Aus Al Samarai, who is the town of Blackfalds' new manager of engineering. His first day was September 22nd. Aus brings more than 22 years of experience as a professional engineer with a strong background in municipal infrastructure, project delivery, and service management. He is committed to working closely with staff, partners, and the community to support Blackfalds' continued growth and success. With that, I'll turn the mic over to Aus.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Preston. Thanks for reminding me that I have 22 years experience, that I'm getting old. Well, thank you so much for having me here. Yes, my name is Aus. I have a bachelor degree in civil engineering, and I'm a professional engineer as well, member of the Association of Alberta Engineers here. I have international experience in construction. I've done mega projects back in Dubai and Oman and the Gulf region, a couple of years in UK, and now I'm in Canada. So thanks again for having me, and committed to deliver the right product to the town of Blackfalds. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of Town Council, welcome to the team.
Thank you so
We're
much.
very grateful to have you here.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks.
Our next delegation, we are joined by Sarah Skinner from the Battle River Watershed Alliance to present their annual report. Good evening, Sarah.
All right. Hello, everybody. I was just looking back in my calendar, trying to remember the last time I was here, and it's been about a year. So nice to see you again and to provide an update on what we've been up to over the past year and ways that Town of Blackfalds does and can continue to support that work. And so, yeah, I'll jump right into it. Just a teaser that this bridge photo is there for a reason that will come right at the very end. So you have to hold on to that thought. I won't linger too long on this slide because you've heard this many times before, I'm sure, but just by way of a reminder, Battle River Watershed Alliance is one of 11 watershed planning and advisory councils across the province supporting Water for Life, Alberta's strategy for sustainability. And it's nice to have my Red Deer River Watershed Alliance colleague here tonight too. So yeah, Battle River Watershed Alliance, of course, looking at the Battle River as well as Sounding Creek watersheds in Alberta. And as an organization, we are a nonprofit, non-governmental organization governed by a multi-stakeholder board of directors, and we have as our key roles reporting on the state of the watershed, leading in watershed management planning, convening and collaborating with partners across the region on watershed management and stewardship and education initiatives, and of course that watershed education piece being a big part of what we do as well, within the watersheds being part of Treaty 6 and 7 territories and also part of the Métis homeland. So I thought I'd just put this map back up on the screen as it shows Blackfalds being right there at the intersection of different watersheds with waters flowing north through Whelp and Wolf Creeks, and then of course being very close to the Blindman and Red Deer rivers as well. And I also include this because I always love an opportunity to share information about the Riparian web portal, which is a free online resource that you can use to look up riparian intactness data if you are curious to look at that data within the Blackfalds region and surrounding areas. But yes, I did include a physical copy of this year's annual reports in that folder if you're curious to just read a little bit more in depth what we've been up to. But wanted to really just say thank you to the town of Blackfalds for the ways that you supported us, many different ways, including through your previous Invest 50 contributions. And those go towards supporting a lot of different programs that we run, including our riparian care program, which provides funding for landowners, ag producers to take on the ground actions to support riparian conservation and restoration. Also supports our watershed education programs, which I'll talk about a bit more in depth in a bit. But lots of education work that we do, as well as just supporting community events and outreach across the Battle River and Sounding Creek region. And of course, wonderful to always have you attend our events and participate in whatever ways you are able. And then also just wanted to give a big thank you to Preston and representing the town of Blackfalds on our board for many years now. I was trying to remember how many years, but Preston might remember better than me. So at all of these presentations, we like to give just a bit of an update in terms of what is happening on the ground across the watershed right now. So it will come as no surprise to you that we've had a very dry time in the last several years now. So in terms of provincial designations, that we've had an official water shortage advisory across all subwatersheds of the Battle River Basin since May of 2023, and that has never been lifted since that time. And then in terms of the Government of Alberta's drought response plan, they now have different stages of drought that they designate, and in terms of the Battle River Basin currently being at a drought response stage 2, which indicates a moderate drought. And really we've been seeing that in the flows in the Battle River remaining mostly below the normal range. Then that's based on long-term data about the river flows. And that's been throughout this summer. Very low flows continue. And that's seen too across the landscape in terms of the precipitation accumulations we've been seeing throughout the summer relative to those long-term normal conditions, again, being moderately low and even very low across a large portion of the watershed. So just I think it's a constant reminder for us about the importance of doing what we can to conserve water and take those land management steps that hopefully can build our resilience as communities, as well as resilience within ecosystems across the watershed, even in those times of very low water availability. So in the vein of updates such as that, just wanted to flag some of the ways that you can stay updated on our work and different resources that we have available. We've started to provide quarterly email updates to funding partners and other partners that support our work. And so I believe you should be receiving those quarterly updates now, certainly through Preston as a board member. But if there's anyone that you think that update should go to that maybe is not receiving it yet, you can certainly just get in touch with us and we can add you to that email list. It includes primarily an update from our executive director on our current programs. And then of course you can also sign up for our monthly e-newsletter, and that provides a broader look at programs that we have underway, upcoming events, highlighting different resources or information that may include things like up-to-date data on water flows and stuff like that. And then new or coming soon, we're currently developing some info sheets about state of the watershed information based on our recent Health in the Watershed Atlas, taking hundreds of pages of information and trying to bring it down to just a couple pages of information to help get the word out to people about state of the watershed data. And related to that, there's also lots of different ways that we can share whatever watershed data might be of interest or relevance to you directly here, everything from water quality and quantity to land cover, land use, biodiversity, and many more data sets. So yes, you can certainly reach out if you are interested in whatever type of watershed data it might be, and we can see if we might have data available to support what you're working on. And then, of course, with the municipal election just around the corner, we will be hosting for both new and returning council members a Watershed 101 webinar. This will include information such as kind of some background about the Water for Life strategy, the work of watershed planning and advisory councils, looking at the local context and different ecological considerations that might come into play in municipal planning and development work, the state of the watershed information that I've already touched on, watershed management plan recommendations that have been developed, and different resources. Oh, thank you. Different resources that can support you in your work. So these are virtual lunch and learn sessions, and 12 to 1:30 on those 2 dates there. Same information will be provided at both sessions, so you can see if which one you might be available if you're interested in attending, and you can sign up through our Eventbrite page. Okay, and then related to our education programs, these are the 5 programs that we are currently offering, and I won't talk about them in detail, but one of the things that I included in your folder there was just a brief overview of the different programs that we run. It's curriculum-linked programs for the grade 4, 5, and 6 field trips that we offer, and then also the extreme science field trip for grades 7 to 12. And then also in your folder is a little bit more information about the Caring for Our Watersheds contest that's available to students across the province. So if you know of any students or teachers in grades 7 to 12, absolutely please share information about that program with them. It's a great way for students, I think, to get involved in hands-on projects to help care for their watershed. A really inspiring, cool program to be a part of. And over the past year, we've been able to reach out to over 1,600 students through these education programs, including right here, close to home in Blackfalds and beyond, of course. Hundreds of teachers and schools involved every year. We've had to switch gears a little bit this month, but still trying to work through different community camp programs to continue to get kids involved in just learning through on-the-ground experiential learning opportunities about their watershed. And then another really cool, exciting new program that we've been working on this year is just expanding our citizen science monitoring programs and opportunities. There's a little pamphlet also in your folder just looking at how to use citizen science apps. So a few different apps that we're encouraging people to look into if they're interested, and it's linked into these different citizen science monitoring programs that we've launched this year. 2 that are based on observing lake and river water quality, the Lake and River Observer programs. And there is also actually in your folder just a brief 1-pager description of what these programs are looking to gather in terms of watershed info. We're also hoping to launch more citizen science-based invasive species monitoring, primarily aquatic invasive species and invasive mussels in particular. So you can look more into that if you know of anyone that is on a lake or on a river, Battle River, or local creeks actually too. And then opportunities to monitor bird species as well as biodiversity through the eBird and iNaturalist apps, and connecting in with our profile through those platforms to look at a watershed scale. What is biodiversity and bird species diversity looking like across the watershed? And so, yeah, looking to get people involved if they're curious birders or nature lovers, wanting to collect some data when they're out walking, hiking, canoeing, whatever it might be. And also, we've been starting to host what are called bio blitzes, which is just a way of saying people coming together, going for a walk or a paddle, and seeing how many different birds, plants, other creatures they can see in whatever area they're in. And again, just a neat way to get a snapshot of the diversity of whatever place you are in. And so if there's any interest in having some kind of a local citizen science monitoring day, a bio blitz, as it were, here in Blackfalds or somewhere local to the area that you think it'd be cool to see a snapshot of biodiversity, we would be very interested to be involved in that sort of thing. And then the last thing I'll touch on is that over the past year, we've developed this guide to watershed management in land use planning for local governments. This was developed in collaboration with municipalities, the Musqueam Cree Nations, and the Métis Nation, and it was really looking into opportunities to align land use policy and watershed management recommendations that have been developed for the Battle River and Sounding Creek watersheds, really as one of many tools to support you and support local government initiatives to implement watershed management recommendations, and also just in general environmental land management practices into your land use planning documents. And there's lots of ways also that we saw that this work is already being done, so looking at if there are any additional opportunities in that vein. So this report, this guide is available now on our website, so you can check it out there. I believe there should be a few physical copies floating around too. So just wanted to flag that for you as a resource. And then back to the bridge. So next year, BRWA will be celebrating our 20th anniversary, which is hard to believe. But we're hosting a special AGM and bus tour next June, so you can keep an eye out for more information about that coming in the new year. But related to the bridges, we are developing this commemorative booklet, Bridging Communities, and so we're currently in the process of collecting bridge photos. It could be like road bridges, but also pedestrian bridges, railway bridges across the region. I've included just a few on the screen there. But yeah, if you have any pictures of local bridges that would be in the watershed, we'd be very happy for you to send them along. And if you have a personal story or information about the history of that bridge, we're really excited to learn more about the bridges across the watershed. So just a fun little thing we're doing for our 20th anniversary. All right, I will leave it at that, but thank you so much for your time, and happy to take any questions if you have them.
I see no questions, but I say thank you for coming once again. Your presentations are always so thorough. They make me thirsty every time. I've noticed that you have a bottle of water. That's
Yes.
That's our contribution to
Yes,
the watershed.
thank you, thank you.
Enjoy that. And good luck on the next year. Thank you for everything.
Yes, thank you. Good luck to all of you next week, I guess.
And you might as well leave that microphone on.
Oh, sure.
And so we'll move on. So as many people know, we are fortunate enough to have Blackfalds to have a footprint in both the Battle River Watershed Alliance as well as the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance. So we are joined additionally for another presentation by Francine Forrest, the Executive Director for Red Deer River Watershed Alliance. Welcome, Francine. Good to see you again.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having me this evening. And that was fun to be a part of that celebration with the firefighters. So good night to be here.
just add this forward that way? Okay.
Great. Okay, so we are the basin to the south. I'm the executive director of the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance, and thank you for your ongoing support to the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance, the Watershed Planning Advisory Council for the Red Deer River Basin. Water is, as you know, foundational to the health and prosperity to local communities like the town of Blackfalds. So I'll give a brief review of who we are. I know we've already had an update from the Battle River, and so we follow the same mandate and roles, but we are a different basin, and we're also part of the South Saskatchewan Regional Basin. So we have water quantity and quality restrictions that at the border through the South Saskatchewan Regional Plan. So the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance is another one of the WPACs across the province. We're also not-for-profit, science-based organization. We have 17 board of directors, and we have a vision of a healthy, dynamic, and sustainable watershed through the efforts of the entire community. What is a watershed? I know most of you know, but just a brief reminder, it's a geographic area defined where precipitation falls to a low level and water body such as a river or lake. And really the conditions in the lake and the river are a reflection of the land use or and water allocations. And we all share an interest in a healthy watershed. There's many economic, environmental, and community benefits, and the decisions that you make today and into the future are important for the sustainability of today and tomorrow. A healthy watershed, for example, a healthy watershed provides many benefits like source water protection, flood and drought mitigation, which we heard we've been enduring a drought for several years now, also in the Red Deer or parts of the Red Deer. And through our mandate and roles, we provide value to your community. So we host 3 core events across the Red Deer River Basin. It is obviously a very large basin, over 50,000 square kilometers. We have 74 rural and urban municipalities, and there's a lot of communities downstream. So what happens upstream really influences not just local communities, but also downstream communities. And so we host a spring and a fall forum. We just had our fall forum last week in Red Deer, and it was actually our 20-year celebration of an organization. And so, yeah, it was just celebrating, past volunteers and support municipalities like yours and partners. And we move around the basin for these spring and fall forums. And last spring we were in Bentley and we were talking about local issues like Gull Lake. The Gull Lake Society had a presentation at a forum. We also, Medicine River was giving an update on what's going on locally there as one of our watershed stewardship groups, and also more recently the Blind Man also gave an update. And then we had an update from our groundwater research project with the Red Deer River Watershed is partnering with U of C and some other academic individuals on a groundwater research project that is across the South Saskatchewan River Basin, but specific to the Highway 2 corridor. And there's a more local regional study for Blackfalds, or the Blind Man and the Medicine River. So just looking really at groundwater, surface water interaction, because it is connected, and it's really important to get a better understanding on this. So that's a form of outreach, but we also do water literacy and education. We do also host outreach and education programs. We participated in 33 events last year, and we worked with We also did public booth events and interacted with over 1,500 people, and just over 1,000 of them were youth. And so we also, because it is such a huge basin, then we do rely quite a bit on our videos and website resources, because we get a lot of different questions across the basin. You can imagine the special areas, and then in the headwaters with invasive species, and then across the eastern slopes. So then we do have different materials for across the basin. And then another work last year that we worked on also riparian restoration projects. So that's just some things where you can get your hands dirty and help restore areas, restoration areas, to maintain or enhance flood and drought resiliency in local areas. So that's a picture there of some of our staff and volunteers working to restore parts of the watershed. In terms of watershed planning and implementation, we're still working on recommendations from our Integrated Watershed Management Plan Blueprint, and we're really trying to focus on increasing, or we've mapped over 10,000 kilometers of riparian health assessment, so shoreline plant areas. And so the riparian portal was referenced earlier. And so we have all this mapping, and it is available to municipalities. This is actually a really good piece of information that's important for your drinking water safety plans. So it's pathway to source water protection. So if you improve your risks to your source water, you can decrease drinking water treatment costs. So this is information that's available, that we've done through our mapping programs, and is summarized in our State of the Watershed report, which is ongoing right now. And then also we've been supporting some monitoring in our tributaries, and with citizen science, but also with biomonitoring, so using benthic invertebrates, and that's what those critters are there, and also in situ monitoring. We do have, we've received several data sondes where they can record temperature in streams, and so this helps with monitoring temperature, which is a surrogate for ecosystem stress. So we lent some of these tools out to our partners, like the Friends of the Blind Man. And then just going back to riparian areas or shoreline vegetation, they provide many ecosystem services. They're very cost effective. They're really important. They're a good tool in these drought years, and also for not only for drought, but for flood resilience as well. They, reduce costs. They filter contaminants. They add storage. They provide habitat. So really good opportunities to invest in these. And so this information is being summarized in our watershed assessment report. And this is an online report. I'm not sure how many of you have that huge binder that we did back in 2009, but we have this online report, and you can actually click to the sub-watershed of interest. You can go and look at water allocation. That's the chapter that we just completed, and it will be available online shortly. And then we also have the riparian information. We're currently working on surface water quality, and then it'll be biodiversity, and we're doing the groundwater chapter as well. So we couldn't do it without everyone's help. We have a lot of partners working on this, including the town of Blackfalds, and so we really appreciate your support. And we really look for the 50 cents per resident across our municipalities to help protect the whole watershed. And I know you're in the central part of the basin, but it all helps. And this helps just provide long-term funding for staff and programs, and then also for leveraging grants as well. So I do have a summary of a report. I have an electronic version that was circulated, but there's some hard copies here as well. And then just thank you again for your support, and really appreciate it. And water is important for the community. That's it. Any questions?
I see none, but I thank you as well. I think we take for granted how much information is provided by our watershed alliances in order for us to make responsible decisions for the land that we steward. So thank you for continuing to keep us educated and for the work you do. And I encourage councilors and future council members to take opportunities to take in some of the education that your organizations provide. So I know that I have, and it's extremely valuable. Thank you so much.
Oh, and one more thing. Thanks, Mayor Hoover, for the letter of support for the drought resiliency workshop. We weren't successful, but many of us agree that that workshop that was hosted by the town of Blackfalds was just, yeah, there was over 80 participants, and we couldn't have hosted that without your support. So we really appreciated it, and we got a lot of good feedback. So thanks again.
You're welcome. It's amazing collaboration.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of our delegations. Moving on to business items. Our first order of business, 6.1, council motion on the midterm strategic plan. That's presented by Councillor Appel.
Thank you, Mayor Hoover. At the August 13th, 2024. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I just
Councillor
have
Schwab.
to declare my conflict of interest.
Oh, yes, thank you.
I'll give her time to exit.
All this water talk, right?
Thank you. At the August 13th, 2024 regular meeting of council, a motion was passed to add Alberta Registry Services and increased services by Canada Post to action items under Strategic Priority 1, Community Life, Focus Area, Connect Residents to Services and Services to Residents. Residents of our community continue to face challenges due to limited Canada Post services. Strike notwithstanding. Although administration and council have attempted to resolve these issues through email communication, our concerns remain unaddressed. Given the importance of reliable postal services to the well-being of residents and recognizing that this issue is reflected in the town's midterm strategic plan under town residents and services, it is necessary for council to advance the matter through a formal letter to Canada Post leadership. Notice for the following motion was given at the September 23rd, 2025 regular council meeting to be brought forward to tonight's meeting, October 14th. October 14th, 2025, regular meeting of council for discussion, debate, and council consideration. I don't know if you'd like to see if there's debate beforehand or if I shall go right into the motion.
Other questions, comments?
Wonderful, thank you. In that case, I would like to move that council consider the following motion. That Councillor Appel moves that council, this is like the whole motion again, sorry. I'm gonna start that again. I move that council write a letter to Canada Post leadership to voice our continued concerns and that the letter be sent to the following: Doug Ettender, Joel Lightbound, Danielle Billio, Francis Colomb, Wayne Beckles, Steve Sinnott, Christopher Watchhorn, Kim Mannion, and Ben McCutcheon. Or McCutcheon, sorry.
Thank you. Is there debate or discussion on that motion? Comments? I think this is very thorough. I think we've had this challenge ongoing for quite some time. I think the broader that we spread this letter, the better. And I support that. So I call the question. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Yeah, she recused herself.
The motion will be carried just because all of the council members who were in attendance, just one had to abstain from voting. So
Thank you for
it
clarifying.
would just be the motion's carried.
Motion is carried. Thank you. We are advised. Moving on to item 6.2, request for decision on bylaw 1341.25 being the redistricting of 1 McKay Boulevard from C3 to CMU.
Thank you, Mayor Hoover. Good evening, members of council. The bylaw before council proposes to redistrict 1 McKay Boulevard in the McKay Ranch community from the current commercial local district C3 to commercial mixed use district CMU. The applicant advised that the intent of this redistricting is to support the development of a modest, well-integrated mixed-use building featuring ground floor commercial with a maximum of 12 residential units above. The applicant's rationale for the redistricting application, along with copies of both the current and proposed districts, are included as appendices in your report. Administration is supportive of this redistricting as it is in general conformity with the updated McKay Ranch Area Structure Plan that was adopted by Council on June 25th, 2024. Although the governing ASP identifies this parcel specifically for future C3 district, the intent of both the C3 district and the proposed CMU districts are similar, to provide commercial uses that serve and are compatible with adjacent residential uses. Administration's support for the application is furthered by the direction contained in several town policies and focus areas, such as Strategic Priority Number 1, Community Life, the Town of Blackfalds 2024-2026 Midterm Strategic Plan, which identifies promoting options for housing. Policy 3.12 of the town's Municipal Development Plan lists items for consideration when assessing a redistricting application, for example, suitability of the site for the proposed uses, compatibility with surrounding uses, impacts on municipal road and infrastructure services, and so forth. Administration is satisfied that the proposed redistricting is suitable in light of these considerations. And policies 5.2 and 5.6 of the Municipal Development Plan speak to the town providing a range of housing types and avoiding an excessive concentration of any single type of housing in a community. The proposed CMU district can accommodate residential within a commercial component, which is a different type of housing than what is currently available in the McKay Ranch community. It is important to note that if the redistricting application is approved as submitted, there is a possibility of the parcel being developed solely as residential under the apartment use, which is a discretionary use in the CMU district. During the public hearing process, when the updated ASP was being considered by council, this site was originally proposed to be identified for future residential medium density district R3. Several residents expressed their desire to retain the parcel for commercial uses, citing the lack of commercial amenities in the eastern part of town. Council subsequently directed the applicant to revert the parcel back to C3 district, and the updated ASP was ultimately approved with a site specifically shown for C3 district. With that said, there is an administrative recommendation before council. There's two parts to it. The first being that council gives second reading to bylaw 134125, redistricting of Lot 3, Block 13, Plan 1422837, 1 McKay Boulevard, as presented. And the second motion before council is that council give third reading to bylaw 1341.25, redistricting of Lot 3, Block 13, Plan 1422837, 1 McKay Boulevard, as presented. I welcome any questions.
Councillor Sands.
Thank you. I'm just curious, through the chair to Manager Tekel, are they having problems with the commercial aspect of it, or what's the reasoning? Just because I know when this did come forward before, there was some concerned residents, and we decided that you know there's not a lot of commercial development over their area for it. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we did that. I'm still in favor of that. So I'm just wondering, is there a problem? Because I know that you know, like you say, this could potentially be filled up with residential, and that's exactly what we wanted to get away from in the first place for that area. So I'm just wondering. Yeah.
Through Mayor Hoover, the developer has mentioned to me several times that they are having a difficult time marketing the commercial parcel at its size. It's my understanding now, coming back with this other application, that they may have found some commercial unit businesses, but nothing that will take up the full acre or so size of the parcel. So that's why they've come with this redistricting application now.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other questions, we do have the administrative recommendation, which is to move forward on second and third reading.
Correct.
Counselor Swab?
I'll move that council give second reading to bylaw 1341.25, redistricting of Lot 3, Block 13, Plan 142, 2837, 1 McKay Boulevard as presented.
Thank you. Debate or discussion on that motion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Counselor Pell?
Thank you. I move that council give third reading to bylaw 1341.25, redistricting of Lot 3, Block 13, Plan 142, 2837, 1 McKay Boulevard, as presented.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6.3, request for decision for bylaw 1345.25, council procedural amendment bylaw.
Thank you, council. So council, we do have a amendment bylaw before you this evening, and we are looking for 3 readings. This is an amendment based on the changes to the MGA that remove the code of conduct from being mandatory. So we have amended our procedural bylaw to remove any reference to code of conduct. So this is just, in fact, a housekeeping amendment bylaw, and we are looking for 3 readings this evening. Any questions?
Thank you. This is, as I see it, purely administrative. Seeing no questions, do we have a mover? Councilor Schwab?
I'll move that council give first reading to bylaw 1345.25, council procedural amendment bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Debate or discussion on the motion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Coulter.
I'm ready to move for the second
Thank you.
motion that council gives second reading to bylaw 1345.25, councillor procedure amendment bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. Looking for a third reading. Councilor Sands.
I'll move that council give unanimous consent to move to third reading of bylaw 1345.25, council procedural amendment bylaw.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? And we do have unanimous consent. Thank you. Councilor Pell.
Certainly. I move that council give third reading to bylaw 1345.25, the council procedural amendment bylaw as presented.
Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Item 6.4, request for decision on bylaw 1346.25, municipal policing committee bylaw.
Good evening,
Rick
Mayor,
Morrison.
Council. In 2022, the provincial government passed Bill 6, the Police Amendment Act. Legislation required the formation of civilian governance bodies for all municipalities in Alberta, so that communities can participate in setting police priorities and performance goals. Prior to this, the formation of police committees was optional, and the town of Blackfalds chose to form their own committee in 2011. Police governance regulation came into effect on March 1st, 2025. There were 3 options given. The town of Blackfalds fell into number 3, communities with a population of less than 15,000, placed under a MPSA, Municipal Police Service Agreement, are required to participate in a regional policing committee and can opt out to establish their own committee. Town of Blackfalds, current police committee has provided an effective level of civilian governance with local policing over the time it has been in existence. The committee has been active in bringing forward community concerns to local law enforcement, as well as providing valuable insights to priorities within the community. At the March 11th, 2025 regular council meeting, council made the following motion and resolved that council write a letter to the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services requesting that the town of Blackfalds opt out of the Regional Policing Committee and maintain the town's established policing committee. On March 14th, a letter from the town was forwarded to the Honorable Mike Ellis, Minister for Public Safety and Emergency Services, requesting permission to opt out of the Regional Policing Committee and maintain the town's current established municipal policing committee. On May 30th, a positive letter was received from Honorable Mike Ellis advising or confirming the town of Blackfalds was granted permission to maintain their existing municipal policing committee. A few requirements were in need to correct our current bylaw or amend our current bylaw to meet the amendments that the province had made. So a requirement to amend that bylaw to reflect those changes was added in, or was put in the letter as well. Relatively minor changes were required in updating it, the current bylaw 1125-11, to reflect the changes made under the Amendment Act. The bylaw name has been changed from Policing Committee Bylaw to Municipal Policing Committee Bylaw. Additional duties and responsibilities for committee members have been added to the new bylaw to reflect the changes within the Police Amendment Act. Under the composition of the committee, the reference to FOIP has been updated to reflect changes to the Access to Information Act and the Protection of Privacy Act. Part 6, in the new bylaw, ministerial appointments to the Policing Committee has been added to reflect the Police Amendment Act, which provides for the province to appoint committee members if they so wish. Part 9.4, the committee shall be governed by the procedural bylaw, replacing the previous reference to Robert's Rules of Orders was put in to reflect the process in which the town of Blackfalds committees run. The bylaw has been further updated to the current town of Blackfalds bylaw format. As I said, fairly minor changes to reflect the amendments the province has made, as well to reflect some of the changes we've made in some of our bylaws as well. So administration brings forward today in hopes of doing all 3 readings before you tonight. The council consider the following motions. The council give first reading to bylaw 1346.25, Municipal Police Committee bylaw as presented. And that council gives second reading to bylaw 1346.25, Municipal Policing Committee bylaw as presented. And that council give unanimous consent to move to third reading of bylaw 1346.25, Municipal Policing Committee bylaw. And that council give third reading to bylaw 1346, Municipal Policing Committee bylaw as presented. Alternatively, it could be sent back to administration for further information, or that council give first reading to bylaw 1346.25, Municipal Policing Committee bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Questions? The one aspect that I found interesting was the minister having the ability to appoint members to this, and so I'm not sure I totally understood. So it looks to me, now maybe you interpret it differently, that our committee consists of 7 appointees, and it looks
Yes.
like for every group of 3 they can
appoint one.
So does that mean 3 members?
It could possibly. I doubt that they would appoint 3 for the committee, but they have the option to. It's more looking at larger committees and regional. I suspect they would probably appoint at least 1. I know up in Grand Prairie, the current policing committee had 1 regional representative.
Well, I was relieved to know that, at least it's not half of the committee, like potentially if you have a committee of 4 and they can appoint 2 people, which could dominate,
It's pretty strong, yes.
Yes. which, given the fact that there's been a huge push for provincial policing from our province, would be concerning for me. So
It, in my opinion, was the better alternative, though, than the regional, where we would likely only have one voice in a regional policing committee. Yes.
thank you. Yeah, and I just took note of that. I noticed that at least they don't have quorum, you know,
Yes.
in their appointees. That
Yes.
was the concern that I had. Other than that, it looks fairly administrative. Are there other questions or comments from council before we move forward on? Okay, seeing none. Do we have Deputy Mayor Coulter?
I move that council give first reading to bylaw 1346.25 municipal policing committee bylaw as presented.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Councillor Dennis?
I move to give second reading to bylaw 1346.25 municipal policing committee bylaw as presented.
Debate or discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous, thank you. Councillor Schwab?
I'll move that council give unanimous consent to move to third reading of bylaw 1346.25 municipal policing committee bylaw.
Debate or discussion? All in favor? And we do have unanimous consent, thank you. Councillor Sands?
I'll move the council give third reading to bylaw 1346.25 municipal policing committee bylaw as presented.
Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous and passes. Thank you. Moving on to item 6.5, the request for decision, the revised council policy CP 189.25 being the council remuneration and compensation policy.
Thank you. The council remuneration and compensation policy outlines that in the year of an election that there would be a review done. So council is aware that there was a review completed, and this review was provided to council with recommendations at the September 9th meeting. There were a couple of motions that were made. The first was that council approved the recommendations outlined in the report. And the second motion was that a special meeting of council be scheduled, and the task was to identify and compile a list of activities that fall under the monthly honorarium and what is eligible for per diem compensation. That meeting was held on September 23rd, and the resolution coming out of that was that council approved the honorarium versus per diem list of activities as amended, and it was directed to administration to include it as a schedule to the council remuneration and compensation policy. So we have now updated that policy, and it is before council this evening. This policy will come into effect January 1st, along with the budget and with the new council. The recommendation is that council adopt the council remuneration and compensation policy CP 189-25 effective January 1st, 2026. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Councillor Appel.
Thank you. Through the chair to CEO Isaac. I didn't have a question. I just did notice on Appendix C there was a slight formatting issue. One just being that the heading for the second page is just located at the very bottom of the first page.
Great, thanks.
And then two, some of the agencies have the asterisks there, but I just noticed the legend isn't on here to explain why they have an asterisk, whereas our other document did. So,
Thanks.
Based on those two things being adjusted, I didn't have any other comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought the process was effective, particularly that this council could provide clarification for future councils in terms of the per diem eligibility, which for quite a long time has been ambiguous. So that was appreciated. And and certainly in support of moving forward on making sure that the future councils are remunerated consistent with the rest of our remuneration policy with the town. Councillor Appel?
Thank you. Sorry, I noticed, once I actually opened my notes, I actually had another note on this page as well. Same with Appendix C, just because later on this evening, we will be discussing a updated committee. So there's the current ad hoc committee on this
Will
list, but that would likely need to be updated.
Great,
So,
thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? Deputy Mayor Coulter?
I move that council adopts the council and compensation policy PC 189.25 effective January 1st, 2026.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous, thank you. Moving on to item 6.6, being the Indigenous Engagement Committee.
Great, thank you. So the Treaty 6 Land Acknowledgement Review was established back in March 2024. And as council is aware, that committee has, I guess, served its purpose in establishing a revised Treaty 6 land acknowledgement. But as we have noted, this is only the start of the town's ongoing commitment to relationship building and reconciliation. And we are recommending that an ongoing committee be established to continue this important work. A draft terms of reference for the Indigenous Engagement Committee has been developed and is attached. The purpose of this committee would be to advise and support the town of Blackfalds on matters related to Indigenous engagement, reconciliation, and collaboration. Administration recommends that council dissolve the Treaty 6 Land Acknowledgement Review Committee and establish the Indigenous Engagement Committee along with the approval of its terms of reference. Under financial implications, there may be some minor costs associated with the committee, but they can be accommodated through the existing budget. So we do have 3 recommendations there that I would ask council to consider. Thank you.
Councillor Appel?
thank you. I move that council dissolve the Treaty 6 Land Acknowledgement Review Committee.
Debate or discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous, thank you. Councillor Schwab?
I'll move that council approve the establishment of the Indigenous Engagement Committee and appoint members of council to the committee at the organizational meeting of council.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? Motion is unanimous, thank you. Councillor Sands?
I'll move that council approve the terms of reference for the Indigenous Engagement Committee.
Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that's unanimous, thank you. Item 6.7, request for decision on the ICF IDP Committee Terms of Reference.
Thank you. Again, this is another housekeeping matter. So the current terms of reference indicates that the committee is to be composed of 3 council members from each participating municipality. However, in discussion with the county CAO, Tim Timmons, he had noted that the original intent during discussions of the ICF and IDP agreements, the original intent was that there would only be 2 council members and an alternate. But somehow through the process at the town's organizational meeting, 3 members were appointed with an alternate. So what happened was that at that time, the terms of reference had not yet been finalized. So instead of us having removing an appointment, the county went with having 3 appointees. But they would like to go back to the original intent of just having 2 appointed members with an alternate. So this terms of reference was adopted at their meeting on April 9th, and they're requesting that council adopt this revised terms of reference.
Councillor Appel.
Thank you. So, through the chair to CAO Isaac. So, we did have 3 plus an alternate?
Yes, there was 3 appointed at the organizational meeting when I went back and looked at last year's
Gotcha.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, because, yeah, I had looked back in my notes and, yeah, we had 2 plus an alternate who was able to attend even when the other members were present. That way, if another member had to step away, that alternate was like informed. So will that still be maintained? The alternates are still able to attend so that they're informed to make decisions
If
they're
that
required?
is, if the town, if the county of Lacombe would be doing that as well, but I think their intent is that that person would only attend if one other member is not able to attend. Yeah.
Okay. Then I will just say that's interesting because I know when I sat as an alternate on that committee, and then moved into replacing a person that left the vacant position, it was important to have known what had happened previously because they are the ICF and IDP, like they're lengthy documents and they are quite involved. So I will just say, as someone who sat in that position that was an alternate and then sat on the committee, it was very helpful to be able to sit in on those meetings.
And in response to that, there is a reporting mechanism that would require, or I shouldn't say require, but does provide for an update on those meetings in camera. So that is also something that I think has been happened. There hasn't been a lot of meetings, but that is another option that does provide that alternate with information on what's happened. And then, of course, having your CAO at the table or your other fellow council members, they're able to give you an update as well. But that's something that could be discussed at that first meeting with them.
Yeah, I do feel like a lot of this ICF IDP is administrative. Probably the bulk of the work is done by administration without council, and those meetings are really just there to ratify a lot of those decisions. That said, I don't know all the details, but I believe that the province is changing, making some changes in the ICF agreements. Now, that might just be how long the period of time is, but I wonder if this will likely mean that the terms of reference may be under review for all of municipalities.
Yeah, that could be, but I think what has expanded is what ICFs can be applied to, what you can have agreements with. So it was more around the servicing, the services that have now been expanded that you can actually have agreements with your neighboring municipality on. But yeah, there's always changes. I believe the review period for this one does come up in 2027. So at that point in time, the agreement will be reviewed, if not sooner.
You know, and I do see that this is most effective. I mean, rather than we're paying per diem for this, so why are we paying and have an additional person there when this is not inside the terms of reference? But I do think when this comes up for negotiation or for review again, it may be beneficial to discuss with Lacombe County to have that alternate in place, just because if the scope is broader and there's more things being negotiated, it is beneficial. I do agree with Councillor Appel on that. So, but being that this is generally administrative heavy, I think it's relatively easy for administration to fill in all the members of that. So I definitely support it. So seeing no other questions or comments, we do have the administrative recommendation. Councillor Sands.
I will move that council approve the revised terms of reference for the town of Blackfalds and Lacombe County Intermunicipal Development Plan and the Intermunicipal Collaboration Framework Committee as presented.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous, thank you. And then finally, item 6.8, request for decision on the 2024 to 26 midterm strategic plan actions update.
Great. Council, we had been putting this on consent, but since this was the last meeting, I thought it was really important to, take a moment for you guys to look at the accomplishments. I mean, this has been that I've documented in the 2 years since we've kind of done this revised midterm plan. So I did just want to take an opportunity to just say congratulations to you all for all the hard work that's been done, and I just thought it would be appropriate for us to include this here as an item and just have you guys receive it for information. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have on this.
I can hope that the administration will recommend to the next council that they undertake a process similar to what this council did sooner than later. It was effective, not just in providing clarity about what the focus would be for council, but it also provided some great tools for council to work more collaboratively together. So for that reason, I think it should be done sooner at the beginning. I would hope that, again, that's up to that council, but I would say at this point, I would encourage administration to encourage council to undertake this as soon as possible.
So if I can, we do have this set up already. I believe it's January 15th and 16th. It's already scheduled. It's on the orientation schedule, but we do have a strategic planning session that will be done during early January, mid-January for sure.
Thank you. And I want to echo CEO Isaac's. Thank you, everybody, for the hard work that went in based on this workshop where we had some very strategic decisions that we could follow up on, and I'm proud of that. Deputy Mayor Coulter.
The workshop we did on this, I quite enjoyed it, and it's exciting to see it compiled on where we were at now and what we've accomplished as a council. If there's no other questions or comments, I'm ready to move the recommendation.
Seeing none.
I move that council accepts the 2024-26 midterm strategic plan action update as information.
Thank you. Debate or discussion? All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. There are no notices of motion. There are no confidential items. So with that, I will. Oh.
Sorry.
Councillor Schwab.
It's Marina's last meeting. And I just want to thank her so much for being a part of our council. And you're the only one that's not running. So I think we just need to honor you and just thank you so much. But you've done an amazing job.
Thank you, Marina.
Well, that was unnecessary, but I appreciate it. Thank you. And any claps that come my way, I'm putting a reflector up so that they all go back to our town staff because you guys are the real heroes.
Thank you for that. Wow. And with that, I will adjourn us at 8:24. Thank you, everyone.